All right, we're back. A little bit of technical difficulties, but we've fixed them up, and we're ready to get underway as we look at a little bit of the schedule and brackets. Like we said, Celestial and HoneyBadgers, both in the losers bracket. So the loser here today goes home. So of course we see there are four teams left in the losers bracket, and once this round is done, it'll only be two. So both these teams, they're fighting for their spot, and they really can't lose this.
Yep, we're getting down to the nitty gritty at this point. I mean, both these teams just kind of barely finding themselves in the losers bracket, even losing really close series up in the upper bracket to our two teams who are still there remaining in the upper bracket finals, Gear Voltage and Bad English. So, both these teams, probably feel like, hey, we definitely belong to be up in the upper bracket. We were just on the verge of it, and now we have one last chance to kind of prove ourselves here and continue on in this tournament. So obviously there's a lot on the line for these teams. No one wants to go home early. So for sure, I think we are going to have these two teams coming out motivated, coming out prepared, and ready to go here today.
Definitely. I think that especially in a lower bracket run, you have this sort of urgency that you might not have as much of in the upper bracket. Being in the upper bracket, it's nice, but I think that, when you're in the lower bracket, you don't really have, when you're in the lower bracket, you have to keep winning. You cannot lose at all. And here are the rosters for these two teams on Celestial: Wyvern and Thick Chungus, Remastered and Panzerwagen, Salty and Lightning rounding out the support with Tekuno and Sven. On the DPS for HoneyBadgers, Balthazar and Jaeger on the tanks, and Abens and Eberoth on the rounding out the support. So no slackers on any of the roles here. So it's gonna be a great match.
No, for sure. I mean, one quick correction there, Kay. We do need to point out it's Panzerwagen. Insisted on the German pronunciation of his name, and we have to honor that request, of course, especially when we've got a player like this. I went and watched back like a little bit of the match that they played yesterday, the one that knocked them down into this lower bracket. That guy is very entertaining to watch, playing a lot of different heroes throughout the day on the tank role, coming in on the Wrecking Ball quite a bit, the Zarya, the D.Va, playing a lot of those off-tank roles to a pretty high level. So that is definitely someone I'm going to be having my eye on when it comes to Celestial's side of things.
Definitely, I think that Panzerwagen is definitely going to be doing very well, as we're going to be looking to our map set. First map going to be Busan. And I really think that, personally, I think Busan is going to be a good sort of diagnostic for this entire series, because it's really good for a lot of these major comps that we see now. It's good for the dive, it's good for the rush and points, and I think that both these teams are going to be looking to make a statement on this first map.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, this is going to be a very good place to start off a series, to be sure. And before we do get into our first series of the day here in the intermediate division, we do want to give a quick shout out to our sponsor for this GitGud limited tournament, and that is, of course, ExpressVPN. So a big thank you to them for the sponsorship, helping us put on this great event for all these players. As we look like we are just about ready to get into map number 1 here. Everybody in the lobby got delayed a little bit earlier, so I'm sure these teams are kind of itching to get into the action here. We're starting to get the R's in chat coming through from everybody, and it's going to be a really exciting series here today. Of course, best of 5 as always here in GitGud, and Busan will be our first battleground of the day.
That it will, and the Assemble Hero phase already starting up as we're starting on Mecha Base. Now, what compositions are we expecting to see out of these two teams now that we know we're starting our first round on Mecha Base?
I mean, this traditionally should just be Rush all the way. We're going to be seeing Ryan Hartson play from the main tanks for sure. Probably a bit of Zarya, although I mean Celestial, they kind of mix things up. When I saw them yesterday, they started with a Zarya for Panzerwagen, and then they transitioned into a Wrecking Ball at one point. So there's definitely some options for different teams to roll with. I mean, Diva is definitely still a solid option when it comes to the off tank position in these rush comps, but alongside that, you're seeing out of HoneyBadgers at least some very traditional picks across the board. The May and the McCree very valuable in these brawly fights, and yeah, they are looking pretty standard. But Celestial,
are we gonna talk about Celestial rolling out the Metro Bastion double shield comp?
It was a troll. I thought it was a troll.
I thought so too. I thought, you know, but so does the teleport, but the stick chunk can't get through. He's frozen and chunked down by and already throwing the wolf ball as well. You guys have control of the point. Have high ground control down. Take advantage of it. Fire as well. Lightning fall off the map. And HoneyBadgers take the point for the first time.
Yeah, that was just a slight misexecution there from Celestial when it comes to that TP strat. If they had been able to get the Bastion through the TP, there was something going there, being able to play at kind of arm's length with the use of that TP for the repositioning. But now they'll just swap back over towards the rush comp of their own, but they're down in ult charge. That's going to be Takuno finding the open pick there.
Definitely, and they should get the ball soon after Lightning as well, and that's some late picks that'll be brutal for Celestial as more time picks for HoneyBadgers.
Certainly, and I mean that's exactly what the ult advantage gets you. The Amp Matrix comes out from Ebroth, and Celestial just don't really have any answers for it just yet, but now they'll be pushing back in here. They're able to bait out that wall from Spin, and now they have an opportunity to push in aggressively.
Oh, the wall just cuts, bounces off from any sort of healing or support he could get, and there goes Ebroth as well, and a dry fight from Celestial, but they're doing better than HoneyBadgers. I knew, and Deep coming, you don't find Spinner won't now. Even OLS is lighting, off the side.
Yeah, losing your main tank that early in the fight is pretty disastrous there for HoneyBadgers, especially when Balthazar had that Earth Shatter ready to go for this fight, not going to be able to connect on that. And now things have equalized a little bit in terms of the positions for these two teams. Some ults coming online now for Celestial. They've got control at this point, but 73% on the board for HoneyBadgers means that one fight could be all it really takes for them to find the win here.
They're going to find much of anything, but the High Noodle finds one, the Blizzard will find a few more, as Wyvern will fall, and you have some good plays by Takuno, but not going to be enough. It'll be enough, actually. You guys look at the point in this last fight for Celestial here.
Certainly, they will be coming into this with the Graviton Surge. The Sound Barrier should be online shortly for Salty. Aben's going to have to be very aware of his positioning, avoid getting caught in that grab, have the Sound Barrier to protect the teammates, the walls. Out to no avail. There's the Amp Matrix, the Fire Strike through it.
Through that Amp Matrix, takes down anti-one under 200 HP. HoneyBadgers will steamroll Celestial on this first map rush, but we're going to a second round, and it's going to be up to Celestial to see if they can take it back.
Yeah, Yeah, certainly, and these two teams, for all intents and purposes, looking very well matched so far here on this first map. Celestial try to go outside the box with that Sim TP strat to open things up, catch HoneyBadgers off guard. The misexecution on that ends up costing them that first point, and they weren't able to really fight their way back from it. But outside of that one kind of mistake, they looked solid for the most part, and I think these two teams are going to be on even footing for the most part here as we get some compositional changes coming into downtown. Celestial going over to the double bubble comp, the Winston and the Zarya in play here. Thick Chungus on the Pharah. How will Takuno be able to keep this aerial damage dealer at bay here on
That is the question. As we talked about the combo could be last night in a 6-map series, but it's not going so well for Celestial. But Thick Chungus has been raining down destruction, already 74% to their ultimate, going to D-Mech. The D.Va there going to D-Mech Jaeger, but not going to be able to keep the point from falling into the HoneyBadgers' hands. Right there waiting. But they're still not done. They're still engaging here as... Oh, but the stun on the Mercy is gonna seal this off as there goes the Ana. Tekno fall. So will Jaeger. So it's not over yet. Remastered Drip will fall. So will Thick Chungus. And that looks like the end of this attack for Celestial.
Yeah, that was a really nice rotation from HoneyBadgers to get up towards the high ground after capping the point, able to catch Salty a little bit out of position. Thick Chungus wasn't high enough into the air at that point to keep the Mercy safe, but now we'll have that barrage in tow as they try to loop around towards the outside of the point. Remaster taking a lot of poke damage on the entry here, just getting melted down.
He's gonna get taken down. And so with the Chungus, no ult coming out to the Chungus. The Pulse Bomb will come in and it'll take down the Immortality Field, and so will Balthazar, but they're still down one here for Celestial, and Wyvern going down won't help that either. And it's going to be another win for HoneyBadgers.
Yeah, full reset now coming in, and a lot of those tools being used for Celestial, the two DPS ultimates, now they don't necessarily have the easiest time kind of comboing with the Graviton Surge that's about to come in from Panzerwagen. And ults pretty much across the board here for HoneyBadgers. They are sitting pretty here as they look to close out this first map of the day.
Absolutely, and here comes a lot of them. The Grav, the D.Va Bomb, the Valkyrie, the ults, all of the ults, the humanity of it all. But it looks like the HoneyBadgers, they're getting the better of this as Jaeger and Avens will both find picks. The barrage is going to come in. It'll find one, but it won't be long until Thick Chungus goes down. It'll D-Mech the D.Va, but now it's just Wyvern on the point trying to stave off this overtime. Salt will fall. The pile driver will come in from Panzerwagen, but won't be enough, and it won't be long before the HoneyBadgers take our first map 2-0 in a pretty solid fashion.
Yeah, that was pretty dominant there on downtown for the HoneyBadgers. They play this rush comp, and they play it quite well in terms of what should theoretically be a pretty difficult matchup for them there on downtown. A lot of space for the Pharah to work with, a lot of opportunities to set up good dives, but the supports on the side of HoneyBadgers, Ebroth especially with those immortality fields, was doing a lot of work keeping the team up through those fights, avoiding having anyone get picked off as they were eventually able to kind of focus the right targets. Remastered especially was taking a ton of pressure on that Winston, really being the target for a lot of those fights from HoneyBadgers, and they played that really well, and they come away with a great first win here.
That they do, and just, looking at how that map went, what I said before is that I think it's going to be a show of these different compositions And HoneyBadgers showed that at least on those two maps, they can take the rush fight, they can take the bubble fight, they can take the double bubble fight, and it was a solid performance from them, and they took it pretty much without the point flipping to Celestial only once in the first round. So it's definitely going to be Celestial needs to make some changes coming in. What do you think they need to do to fix this?
Well, for starters, I mean, they are, it looks like, going to try and force HoneyBadgers to play a little bit differently as we head into map 2. The pick has come in. It's going to be Watch Point Gibraltar, which inherently I think just kind of forces a different play style to come through from HoneyBadgers. You're not really, I think, going to have nearly the same amount of success that you did on Busan, being able to kind of force that brawl comp that they were rolling with for the entire first map there. It's just going to be too difficult. There's too much high ground to work with here on Gibraltar. You can't get as much value out of picks like the May that we saw being a tremendous boon for them in map number 1. So as things kind of change the geometry of the maps here, it's definitely going to force out some adaptations from both of our teams, and hopefully for Celestial they are expecting this to be a little bit better for them. They showed us that they are willing to run things like the Winston, like the Wrecking Ball at times there on Busan. So that definitely feels a bit more at home here on Gibraltar.
Absolutely. As we start to get into this, we have the compositions about to come in, and interesting picks, but nothing too surprising. You have a Symmetra coming out from HoneyBadgers, which I think is interesting, compared to the Echo on Celestial. But what do you think?
Yeah, we'll see if that Symmetra actually winds up coming out here. They're still in spawn, of course, on the attack side of things. But yeah, I mean, this is going to be an entirely different look here for both teams. We're seeing the double bubble be the tank line of choice, at least, and the Sombras for both sides as well are really interesting and still on Symmetra. And I'm a little bit surprised at this. I mean, maybe they're trying to get some kind of cheeky TP play right out of the gates to find an opening pick. Indeed, that was the idea, as he too will go over to that Echo. So exact mirror comps coming out for both teams here. This is very interesting. The Battle of the Echo is going to be really crucial, but maybe not.
Thick Chungus has won the Battle of the Echoes, you fools. Wyvern will fall early, but still, with all the picks that have come in off of Thick Chungus and for Celestial, it's not looking good for HoneyBadgers.
No, but they will have those quick respawns, of course, and the pick that they were able to get onto Wyvern is actually going to be a pretty big one here for building some space here for the attackers to work with. Big Bionade coming in over the top there, but the bubble saves remastered in that instance, and now we're just seeing a bit of cart push as Celestial continue to hang on to this high ground position.
That they do, and the cart is now rotating, so Celestial, they're gonna need to do something soon. Thick Chungus does have that EMP, and the sleeve just will come in on to Sven, and Sven will get chunked down, but this cart is going to eventually get put to a stop by Celestial with a few pretty big hits.
Yes, certainly. We saw the push coming through from HoneyBadgers, but that left them in a pretty awkward spot, trying to fight all the members of Celestial up on the high ground. As soon as Finn gets slept and taken out, that's so much of the damage gone for HoneyBadgers in the mid-fight. They've really got to be able to focus on keeping that Echo alive, but the EMP...
Oh, the EMP, it'll find 3, but Salt will fall first, and as that EMP wears off, there's only one major pick off of it, and it's on Jaeger, which could be massive, but remastered using this Primal Rage, going to get hit with the anti-nade, but he's still got 1,000 HP, to tank all the damage that he would like with it. Gonna jump onto this Brigitte, and Avens will fall, but the EMP is gonna come out from Tekuno. But all the picks are still going this way of Celestial, and the Graviton will come out as well. Some late ults that could really change this ult economy going forward, and Wyvern gonna pick up some massive kills.
Yeah, certainly. I don't know that graph was necessarily necessary in that situation. It seemed like the fight was pretty much already won there for the side of Celestial. So that's one tool that they're not going to have coming into this next fight, but they will still have some good options here. The duplicate in for Wyvern, the rally for Salty will be providing so much in the way of sustainability for the rest of the team as they look to continue this defense. A lot of fighting up here.
And here comes the Graviton. Jaeger's gonna get taken down, but with all those members of HoneyBadgers of Celestial in the Graviton, two of them are gonna taken down. The EMP, it'll find Sven, so Sven won't be able to use the Graviton. And as soon as I say that, I've proven wrong, as the HoneyBadgers are going to very close to overtime here. But they will push this cart to the end of point A, and they'll get some more time on the clock.
Yeah, they'll keep this push alive here, and we didn't get to see Salty unleash that rally. I'm not sure exactly what happened to the Brig in the mid fight, that she wasn't able to get that one out, but it does kind of wind up leaving Celestial pretty worse for wear in this fight. Now it's going to come out, but it can't save Wyvern, and now they're going to continue to be on the back foot a little bit here as HoneyBadgers continue to push forward, take some space in the shuttle phase.
They're doing just that as they're pushing far ahead of where that payload is right now, but they will eventually have to fall back to it as the dive will come in. The Nano onto the Tracer will come in onto Tekuno, but both the main supports will fall. Panzerwagen and Salty both gonna find picks of their own, and Celestial will put a stop to this card where it stands.
Yeah, I mean, that was really well played there from Wyvern after falling in the last fight, able to go up over the top, get some excellent shots in onto the Mercy on the other side. That's the kind of crucial member that I think they need to focus down, because without the Mercy, it's going to be a little bit harder for Spin to find the same kind of value in the mid fight. And again, Aben's getting caught early.
Definitely, Apens is going to get caught out, and you don't want to lose your Mercy. If there's any member of your team that you don't want to lose, it's that Mercy. If someone else dies, the Mercy can revive them, but when the Mercy dies, no one can revive the Mercy. The EMP will come out, and it'll find one, but Lightning's going to get taken down by that Primal Raging Winston. So much HP. And Eberoth actually going to get taken down. Both the copies coming in, one onto the Brig, one onto the Winston. Both ults are going to be popped, the Primal Rage and the Rally. The Winston going to be throwing around the copied Brig. And an interesting fight with an interesting result is it's not even done here. Wyvern will find a pick, so will Panzerwagen. And the cart almost barely made it there. Did not. But it's close. Wyvern will find that pick onto Ebroth, and that's absolutely massive. The large healing pool of the HoneyBadger is getting dipped down lower here, as there goes Balthazar, and there goes Tekuno, and Jaeger will fall as well. And that will be it, with Wyvern picking up a massive multi-kill to end off the round at 80 meters.
Fantastic defense coming out there from Celestial. A nice response after losing map number 1. They take us to their map pick, and we see exactly why Gibraltar was where they wanted this series going, looking very good on kind of these hyper mobile comps, being able to get Wyvern on the Echo, Chungus onto the Sombra, really playing well around those DPS picks. And they are able to stop HoneyBadgers short of that second checkpoint. A nice spot to kind of set yourself a bar to be able to claim map number 2 here. And a lot of it comes off the back, I think, of that excellent point A defense. They were able to consistently maintain control of blue box and barely gave up the point cap at the very end, but the time they bought there meant that HoneyBadgers just didn't really have enough left in the tank to be able to finish out point B.
They did not, and we see an interesting comp coming out. Again, we have Wyvern on the Symmetra, which is an interesting pick, definitely. I'm not sure exactly what they've been doing with it, but you'll have to see what advantages the Symmetra will give them, as we have no hit scan, and Wyvern will immediately switch to the Echo. So the HoneyBadgers may be at a bit of a disadvantage here, as it's basically only Ibra who has any hit scan capabilities against Wyvern, a very powerful aerial DPS going to be raining down. Oh, and as soon as I say that, Ibra will just get the land asleep onto Wyvern. That was.
I mean, they can't quite really capitalize on it, just too much distance there with such a long-range sleep. They can't even really go in, but now they take down Wyvern. That's a great start here for the defense.
It is, but this card is going to keep on moving until one of the members of HoneyBadgers decides to drop down and contest it, and they will eventually do that. And disengage about to come in as Wyvern just on his Echo flying around, using that primary fire and the sticky bombs to do massive amounts of damage. It's something Echo does very, very well. And she's coming in. She's throwing the sticky bombs, and those are really the tools she uses to charge her ultimate as this brawl comes out on point. No picks yet, but Remaster is going to go really low, and Sven's actually going to find that pick from so far away. Just barely going to get it. The pulse bomb from Techno will find Lightning, but picks are coming out from all ends of the teams. Wyvern will use the adaptive circuits, copy the Brigitte, and will find Abens. And so it's going to be a close one, but it looks like Celestial off the back of just a very close here. And Balthasar doesn't even think that the fight is over, and it might not be. Going to use the Primal Rage to try and get something going. The EMP onto the Graviton, going to shut down the members of the HoneyBadgers. Remastered will go down, but this card is still moving. Sven still does have the EMP. He's not going to use to turn around, but they're not going to need it. You're right.
Wow.
As just barely, Celestial will not be able to capture point A.
And that's pretty brutal. I mean, they were able to kind of fight that one back initially off of the work that Wyvern and Panzerwagen were able to put in. The Zarya was such high charge, but Panzerwagen goes down as he unleashes that Graviton Surge. Can't really get the follow-up damage to kind of continue that push, and the EMP still here for Spin is going to be really tough to fight into.
Absolutely. You're going to need probably your Rally to be hidden until the EMP comes out. The grab from Jaeger will come out, and it'll draw some members in, and Salty and Panzerwagen will both fall. Ibratha will as well, but it won't. It'll be a drop in the bucket compared to the picks from Celestial. Celestial going to fall. Balthazar will go down, but it won't be enough for Celestial to take this point, and they're in last fight territory now too.
Yeah, that was pretty brutal for Celestial. They were trying to go in, I think, and bait out some of those ults on the side of HoneyBadger, but Sven, so disciplined in that fight, continues to hold on to the MP. Didn't find the right opportunity for it, and they didn't end up needing it at all in that fight. So now have that ace in the hole coming into this final fight. Big Chungus needs to try and match that 16% away from their own EMP at the moment. A little bit of poke will be all it takes, but Salty nearly goes down.
Absolutely, it's close here, and the copy on the nano copy onto the Winston. Both Winstons actually going to find a pick onto a support. The Primal Rage will come out. EMP from Sven will find nothing. Sven will just find nothing with that EMP, and in overtime, similar to HoneyBadger's push, Celestial will find point A, just barely, but the stagger's gonna come in onto Ebroth and onto the supports. That's absolutely brutal from Celestial, and great for them.
Yeah, I mean, this is how Celestial can potentially kind of snowball this into a win here on Gibraltar. They're going to have control of the shuttle. The ults are going to be pretty much non-existent coming into this fight for both teams. The Primal Rage for Balthazar, the only one available, but might have to use it very early. Gets the bubble to stay alive, get back to the team there. Nearly lost his life before the fight even began.
Yeah, that would have been just the end of the. That could have been the end of this map for HoneyBadgers if they lost Balthazar that early, and the stun will come in onto him. He still has his Primal Rage, very disciplined in using it. I don't even think he'll use it this fight. His Lightning will fall to Tekuno, and it'll just be a brutal a stop of that momentum from the HoneyBadgers.
Yes, certainly they aren't able to come through with that fight. Wyvern again kind of getting caught out there early on into the engagement. Nice pulse bomb there, takes out Salty. That's just going to delay even further here. Celestial cannot really effectively go in without their Brig, so they'll be biding their time for a moment, and realistically they're going to have one, maybe two opportunities to make something happen here.
Yeah, they don't have a lot of opportunities, and these ults are stacked against them. 3, 4 for the HoneyBadgers, but somehow Panzerwagen will get a double kill. Thick Chungus will follow it up as well, but Panzerwagen is going to get a double kill from beyond the grave here, as Wyvern will get the copy, gonna get the Primal Rage, and gonna knock the members of a HoneyBadgers around like they're bowling pins. Going to eventually lose that duplicate, and we'll get out, but the EMP from Thick Chungus will find 5, but Thick Chungus will go down. There's just not enough follow-up. Panzerwagen and Thick Chungus both going to fall, and only one pick on the side of Celestial. And now it is even here, and you're going to need every single ult of your Celestial, but the sleep onto the Winston Remastered is going to be asleep for most of his Primal Rage. He'll have some to try and do some damage, but it won't be much. The Ana going to fall very low. Wyvern trying to find that early pick. Lightning's going to go down, and Ebroth is at 1, going to eventually fall. The Pulse Bomb will find Salty, but Remaster and Wyvern going to find picks of their own, and it's so close here, but Balthazar will fall, and Sven will try, but not for long, as the cart will push Tekuno. Going to try, but they won't get it, and Celestial will even it up 1-1.
And that was about as close as a map can really get here in Overwatch. It comes down to that final fight. Celestial very nearly kind of flubbed that final engage. The EMP was a little bit early. The rest of the team was not quite in position to follow up. They had so many ults to do it. The Nano, the Rally. Yeah, this play from Panzerwagen, though, was kind of the turning point there for Celestial to give them a foothold into that last fight, to get themselves an opportunity to push the payload across the line there. It was unfortunate there for HoneyBadgers to see that kind of fall apart there at the tail end. But yeah, let's take a quick look at some of the stats from that game. We got Lightning and Ebroth up on the screen for the time being, and it looks like statistically at least that Ebroth is going to kind of get the better end of that trade when it comes to the two supports there.
Absolutely, but I think you do have to look at the deaths as well. Lightning going to be dying a bit less than Ebroth, so it's a little bit of a trade-off when you have 8 deaths versus 10 deaths in however long that map was. It is pretty significant when you're thinking about, say, when your Ana falls that early. When your Ana falls, especially in a lot of these team compositions, that fight's over. You just don't have the sustain. You don't have the power to carry on. You can keep fighting for maybe like 10, 15 seconds, depending on where people's health bars are, but you don't have that sustain, and your off healer won't be able to do much else. They can't really compare with the amount of raw healing that Ana can put out.
Sure. Yeah, that's definitely true. And after 2 maps, we find ourselves all knotted up at 1 apiece. A nice answer back there from Celestial on their map pick. We've still got a long way to go. At least 2 more maps in this series, so we are going to step away for a quick break. But do not go anywhere. We will be back with the conclusion of this intermediate series between Celestial and HoneyBadgers right after this break.
Well, welcome back. We are here with Celestial and HoneyBadgers here. We're having a little bit of problems with Shaga
I'm back.
Camera here. He is back, but we can't see him, unfortunately. But Celestial and HoneyBadgers, it's been a good game so far. With both teams up 1-1, both been pretty close maps, and so now we're looking for our third map, which is going to be Kings Row, the one and only.
Yeah, this should be a really interesting place to take this series after how the first couple maps went. It makes complete sense to see the HoneyBadgers kind of take us to this map for our hybrid choice today, because they looked much better when it comes to the rush comps than they did there on Gibraltar. So this by and large just makes a lot of sense.
Absolutely, and Kings Row is just also, it's a favorite of the Overwatch community. There you go again. But it's one of my favorite hybrid maps. It's one of almost everyone's favorite hybrid maps, and we're going to be seeing these two teams face off on Kings Row, and there's a lot of different strategies that you can do here, but rush comp, Ryan Zarya, usually with something like a May Reaper, is pretty common.
Yeah, for sure. We see a ton of man. I mean, you might get McCree in the mix when it comes to this map as well in that second DPS slot, but fully expect to be seeing kind of your Ryan as kind of your main tank in this situation. The supports give a little bit more opportunity to go in some different directions. Moira and Lucio, kind of I would say the standard kind of rush support picks, but there's a lot of opportunity. You can run BAP, you can run Ana if you really so choose. So definitely a little bit of opportunity, but we know what to expect here for the most part.
Well, you say that, and we have an interesting choice from the HoneyBadgers. They're still in spawn, so this could change, but they're running the Orisa and the Roadhog, also known as the pulled pork combination, and nope, they're switching up, so throw out everything of what I just said, and even their DPS is switching up, but we have the Junkrat from Wyvern going to be spamming down these choke points and getting some huge clutch riptires. I do love the Junkrat, the J Silly as he's known, because he's just so silly. And Remastered already coming in super aggressively, gonna get that pin onto Jaeger, but Remastered going to get counter pinned, and Balthazar will take him down. Already going into some aggression from the HoneyBadgers, but we're having some more problems here as Panzerwagen going to get walled off, and they really retreated without their Reinhardt, but the wall's actually going to prevent them from touching the point here. They're just barely going to be able to contest, though, as the Zarya will come in. Oh, then the pin onto Remastered as well, going to take them off the point, and a bit of a C9 there as well, as the rest of the members of Celestial are going to get walled off and demolished by Celestial. As we go in here, again, just kind of that aggression from HoneyBadgers is what we've been looking for, and it's what rush comps are all about. Just basically pressing the W key so hard until it's just a crater in where your keyboard used to be. Wyvern does have this Riptire, and I think all of us have seen some clutch Riptires before, either on the flank, which it looks like Wyvern's going to be going off to do, but Remastered takes a lot of damage, and here comes the Amplification Matrix. It'll take a Fire Strike through it, and it'll take down Lightning, Tekuno, with this High Noon, going to assist in the taking down of Thick Chungus, and the HoneyBadgers are going to continue this pretty dominant streak.
Yeah, they just get really aggressive with the use of that Amp Matrix. The coordination there was beautiful, getting the Fire Strike immediately as soon as that ultimate comes down, and now they'll be able to carry this momentum forward nearly at the second checkpoint already. I mean, the Blizzard's still there, the Deadeye just zoning Celestial away for the time being. Are they even going to get back here to touch? Wow.
Oh. And the Riptide will come out from Wyvern. The Immortality Field is down as well, so this could be massive. Oh, and it is! Wyvern with a triple kill. Riptide taking down the supports and Tekuno. And even though that point was captured, it's still a good way to start that next point.
Yeah, I mean, sadly, it's a little more than kind of a consolation prize at this point, because, I mean, the big thing you were trying to defend there already gone, and you're not going to be able to hold like super far forward. I mean, this isn't the worst place in the world to try and make a hold happen, but you know, HoneyBadgers still with all the momentum in the world.
Oh, here comes the Graviton. It's going to be gigantic. The Blizzard will come out, and so will the Shatter. It's going to get a lot. The Lucio will call Aven. He's going to get hit with Thick Chungus's Icicle right to the face. Remastered will go down, going a little bit too aggressive, but a one fight again for Celestial.
Yeah, but losing the Rhine is actually pretty problematic there. They're going to have to more or less completely back off and give up all of the space that they had fought for. So a slight error there from Remastered cost them big time. Now the bomb coming in isn't going to find anything. Good reaction there from Celestial.
Definitely the Riptire will get taken down by Wyvern by flying into it. That's a daring way to take down a Riptire, to fly straight towards it. Remastered will fall again, and Reinhardt going down early in Rush Comp is so brutal, because you don't want to lose that Reinhardt. He is the linchpin of the Rush Comp. He is the main part of what a Rush Comp is, but somehow Celestial, off of some pretty good plays with eliminations coming out from the supports, are going to get the better of this fight, and they're going to keep pushing up with Remastered coming in on the respawn. And the Shatter will come in as well, but they're too close to spawn to maybe take advantage of it, but Ebroth will fall, and a good fight from Celestial.
Yeah, Celestial played that really well after losing Remastered. Their positioning was fantastic, playing from multiple angles, so that, you know, despite not having the shield, it was hard for anyone to really get focused down very quickly without some punishment coming through. They hold on for the time being, but still, look at that clock, over 3 minutes still here for HoneyBadgers to work with.
There comes the Graviton Surge, and it won't get any picks, but Remastered will get the charge onto Ebroth, and both the supports for HoneyBadgers are gone, and you can't do much when your supports are gone. Panzerwagen will find a double kill, and oh, the Diva's gonna get demeched, and she's gonna get staggered out. No, she'll drop into the pit, but Wyvern will get the credit.
Certainly, and you know, I'm interested to see how long we might continue to see Ebroth on this map. They've used it to great effect throughout this map and throughout the series in general, but it compared to the Moira on the other side, I think it's a little bit harder to get consistent value in these fights. The Amp Matrix is going to be coming out here very early on, but so is this Tire, and it tracks down Avens.
Absolutely, and both the supports are gone too. And oh, Tekuno will get taken down late in that fight. Jaeger is actually going to get demeched as well, and oh, they're gonna be staggered out really hard, aren't they? Unfortunately. Yeah,
they were trying to get the body block the wall and to keep Jaeger from dropping off the edge of the map. He will be able to do so. So HoneyBadgers now reset, and now that once kind of hefty time bank down under 2 minutes. So this has been solid work from Celestial.
Oh, there comes the wall and the beat, so a lot of aggression going to come out from Celestial, because they have so much health to do so, and they have their tank ults, and they have this Mei ult to keep going.
And they baited out the sound barrier on the other side. Avens was just like a split second too late to save Balthazar with that ultimate, and it really just completely goes to waste. So, you know, HoneyBadgers lose a tool there, but now they're trying to engage again.
That they do. Both the Blizzards will come out. Jaeger's Bomb won't find much of anything, but Lightning will find Tekuno, and the Grab Blizzard combo will both find one. And Thick Chungus going to take down that D.Va, going to try and wall off, but eventually they will fall.
Right now, I mean, the other thing that I think we're seeing in terms of these comps at the moment is the difference between the Zarya and the D.Va at the moment. Now Jaeger finally makes the swap over to the Zarya, the grabs, just getting tremendous value from Panzerwagen, whereas Jaeger hasn't really been able to connect with any of those self-destructs. Now the Coalescence coming out to allow Celestial to disengage from that amp matrix. Would like to see them use that aggressively, but instead just keeping everybody alive for the time being.
Oh no, the wall! Oh no, the wall
both shatters
from Thick Chungus. It'll block both shatters actually. So it's not as horrible, but Remastered will still fall, and this payload will keep moving, but it'll only reach the end if it reaches the end in overtime, and Celestial has a good ult to stop that.
Yeah, will Celestial be able to really regroup here in time? I think Thick Chungus was able to buy enough time on the cart there with the ice block to get everyone back into this fight. Now the Riptire coming through. Wyvern has had a little bit of trouble finding targets with this, but coming around on the flank.
He'll find the Mei, and that could be massive. And Thick Chungus actually coming in on the Bastion.
I love that.
Going to get that elimination on the Reinhardt. Still up, eventually going to get taken down, and it is a brawl on this point. Usually going to come in, and Panzerwagen playing really well. Actually going to push through the amplification matrix and say, no, you are not allowed to use this. And Celestial, just barely after these staggers are dealt with, but it looks likely that just barely they will hold on before the end of this map.
And what a comeback there. I mean, I was having a little bit of technical issues on my side, so I wasn't able to actually see the first point, but just given how quickly HoneyBadgers kind of steamrolled through those first couple of points, the fact that Celestial was able to draw a line in the sand and just stop them short of that final point is really tremendous. You've got to take your hats off to what Celestial was able to pull off there. And they played very well, but I also think HoneyBadgers, some of the compositional choices I think are a little bit off there. They struggled to find value out of the Baptiste there towards the end as the pace picked up, as the aggression started to come out from Celestials, and Jaeger on the D.Va really just wasn't having the impact that you would like to see over the course of a lot of these fights.
Absolutely, I think the D.Va was very helpful at the start with a lot of aggression coming out from the HoneyBadgers, but they weren't really able to match the aggression that Celestial put out as the map got later and later. But now, HoneyBadgers is going to have to mount a defense, and Wyvern's still not selecting the hero. Going to go with the not going to go with the trusty Junkrat. Going to keep on the McCree, and so we have an almost complete mirror, except for the Moira to the Baptiste, and we've somewhat favored this Moira over the Baptiste so far, but we'll have to see if Ebroth can make it work. Tekno going to take a shot early, going to get healed up pretty quickly. But yeah, aggression is going to come out quickly. The wall will come in as well. They'll be able to dip away from it, but still. Mortality Field going to come out early, but Remaster will get taken down. A little too much aggression, and so will Panzerwagen, and HoneyBadgers will repel this first attack very well.
Yeah, and while we've got a second between these two pushes, I do want to point out on this first point, I do quite like the BAP. You've got some good high ground to play around where you can stay safe if you so choose. There's some more room to be able to get value out of things like the amp matrix that becomes, I think, a bit harder later on in the map, but for now it's going to be good. But Lightning will be able to get an early advantage in terms of ult charge there. That Coalescence will be the first ult to come online.
That you said, and here it comes. The Coalescence going to just facilitate so much aggression from the members of Celestial. They'll get that early first pick. Ebroth's going to use the amplification matrix, but it won't be able to do anything for Balthazar. 4 for Sven. Remastered will follow though, so it's not going to be perfect. But the ice block! Did Thick Chungus jump in front of the High Noon and ice block to block the view of Tekuno?
Ooh, Jaeger's still trying to fight this. The grab comes out. They have a chance to turn this one around.
And it looks like they might actually do it. Jaeger is so low, but getting the picks, and the Shatter will come out, and HoneyBadgers, despite all odds, they hold.
That's fantastic stuff coming out from Jaeger, playing pretty much perfectly there to be able to stay alive just long enough to get Balthazar back in the fight, knowing that the reinforcements are on their way. The grab comes out and they hang on, give up just a single tick, and now Celestial, they're on the back foot here. They will have a lot of ultimates to work with in this fight.
Oh, and Remastered will fall early. The Immortality is going to try and get something, but the High Noon will get a lot of damage onto the members of the HoneyBadgers, even with that Immortality, and off the back of it, a team kill for Celestial, and they will take this point.
Yeah, they lost their Ryan early, but they had enough firepower in terms of the ultimates to just power through the defenders of HoneyBadgers there. So point A goes down. It does take them quite a while to do it. A stout defense coming through for HoneyBadgers so far here, and now the Shatter.
Oh, the Shatter. It'll find Tutu already. Here comes the Blizzard from Sven. We'll have to see if it gets what it wants. But Remaster will fall, Thick Chungus will get chunked down as well, and a quick stop for the HoneyBadgers. And this archway is a brutal place to get held on King's Row.
Certainly, the Shatter there actually ended up kind of baiting Celestial into a fight that wasn't going to work for them. The Blizzard immediately on the heels of it ends up kind of being the decider there as HoneyBadgers come through with the fight win once again. Now, they aren't electing to hold immediately up towards the choke point, knowing the Coalescence is there, but the grab.
Oh, the grab. The grab and the Amplification Matrix will just demolish Celestial, and the team kill will ring out again.
Absolutely, and this has been pretty excellent stuff coming out from HoneyBadgers so far. They're playing pretty reactively. They don't necessarily always ult first in these fights, but they get tremendous value when they do. Now Remastered completely cut off from the team, shut down.
Yeah, and the Shatter, no shield to protect them, and HoneyBadgers will just demolish Celestial. Another team kill will ring out, and the time is running low for Celestial.
I mean, that's the name of the game here for HoneyBadgers. You don't necessarily have to hold point A. You don't have to hold as far forward as possible, but the more and more time you can buy for yourself gives you a great chance to win this map at the end of the day. They sound very engaged, but it's just Remastered getting through the wall.
These walls have been absolutely demolishing, have been demonstrable. The High Noon will come in and it'll shatter the shield. The Shatter will find A-bends, but it won't find much of anything else. Oh, and Remastered will get stunned right in front of that Amplification Matrix, and he will not be having a good time with that, as another one fight for the HoneyBadgers, and a minute and a half left on the clock for Celestial, and a long, long way to go.
Certainly, they have struggled mightily just even getting through this choke point cleanly. I mean, as you said, Sven, just really shutting them down with a lot of these walls. And now we're gonna come into a fight here where Celestial, they definitely have the ult advantage. They're trying for an alternate route here, but still there's a choke point to work their way through. And again,
it comes again. It just comes again, and the Remastered falls early. You've just been pushing a lot, but the Blizzard's exit is going to be huge. Wyvern will get a triple kill with the High Noon, and this could turn it around. Thick Chungus will follow, but Ebroth going to be one of the last people on will fall, and late staggers onto this May and potentially onto the Zarya as well.
Yeah,
she's trying to run away.
They need to chase down Jaeger. They gotta do this, and they get. Oh my God, Jaeger gets out, gets back to the rest of the team. That's huge, able to maintain the charge that they had built up over the course of that fight, and now HoneyBadgers will have an opportunity to re-engage with their full 6, with the Blizzard for spin nearly online, and absolutely no answers for Celestial. Salty 20% away from that sound barrier still at this moment, not going to be up in time.
But the wall cuts off the tanks, and already here comes the Blizzard and the High Noon from Tekuno. Tekuno will find Salty, but it may not be enough. The Shatter will come in and it'll find 2, and it'll shut down Celestial. HoneyBadgers locking this cart down, and they will get match point.
Indeed they will, and despite some heroics coming out from Celestial on their defensive side of things, holding point C for 5+ minutes on King's Row, it's not enough at the end of the day. Their attack falls flat a little bit, especially around this choke point. 4 point B, they struggled so mightily trying to get in to get some proper engages off, and so much of the value there coming from Sven on that Mei throughout those fights. So many walls just completely stopped Celestial in their tracks, and HoneyBadgers capitalized beautifully off of it. They play around these rush comps so well. I'm really impressed with what we're seeing out of this team when it comes to those specific compositions, and that's kind of been the story of this series so far. Is like when Celestial can open up the things, get onto these maps with a little bit different geometry that force HoneyBadgers kind of out of that comfort zone. They have a good opportunity to win, but as long as it stays in their wheelhouse, HoneyBadgers looking incredibly dominant here.
That they have been, and just throughout, we're looking to our next map, which it is Celestial's choice, but it could be the final map in the series. But let's just take a look at these Reinhardt plays, as pretty impressive on both sides. But if you look at deaths, it's pretty obvious that Master TP was dying a lot.
Yeah, he was getting bullied so much throughout that map there. It was really impressive, the amount of focus that Celeste or that HoneyBadgers were putting onto that main tank position, and it really shows in the stats there. I mean, I don't even think Remastered was like playing poorly by any means. There were a time or two for sure that he got caught out kind of pushing a little bit too aggressively, but for the most part, I really just think it was the play coming out from HoneyBadgers that really causes the discrepancy that you're seeing here, especially when it comes to those deaths. I mean, 10 more deaths throughout the map there for Remastered is really hard to overcome if you are Celestial, of course. So, I mean, just really well played from start to finish there by HoneyBadgers.
That's absolutely true. And as we look toward our next map, it is Celestial's choice, but again, HoneyBadgers on match point, so this could be our last map. The map, of course, going to be Hanamura.
Okay, this is... I was kind of hoping that we were going to find ourselves going to Hanamura at some point in this series, because I watched yesterday, and Celestial, we saw earlier on Busan, they tried to go for that Bastion Symmetra TP strat. Well, Hanamura is another place where they definitely have that in their wheelhouse. They did it yesterday in their match in the lower bracket in the upper bracket that ended up getting them knocked down here, and they ran it to success. They were able to take Hanamura, I believe, at least do very well on their attack round. So using the Sim TP to get the Bastion up onto the high ground and work their way in towards the point from there. So I'm curious to see if they go back to that, and perhaps if HoneyBadgers have, if they've done a little bit of homework here, they might know that this is potentially on the table here for Celestial and could be prepared for it. That would be very interesting to see what kind of response they might have from
no.
the defensive side of things.
Oh, they're doing it. They have the Bastion. They have the Symmetra. They know what they're doing, and I think they're going to do it. But my concern here is I'm looking at the DPS for HoneyBadgers. You have the Ashe. You have the Junkrat. You have some AoE characters who would just love to see a group of 6 people come through a teleporter and be all chunked up. Junkrat going to throw that grenade. Going to throw basically anything in his kit at them. And Ekuno, the Ashe, going to throw that dynamite and get massive amounts of ult charge, but we'll have to see how it works as these doors start to open.
Yes, certainly, and they're remastered going over to the Orisa to give even more shielding over towards Thick Chungus on the Bastion. The trap doesn't quite get the kill there. Thick Chungus walking into that takes a little damage. Gets 25% of that ult on the line there, force within, but there's the TP.
Oh, it's up to the top.
We're ready for it, but Thick Chungus still falls.
Thick Chungus will fall, but he'll get that resurrection, but then he'll fall again. And now you don't have your Bastion, you don't have your Orisa, you're just trapped up here, and you're gonna get chunked down immediately as Ekuno will get taken down. And a quick fight win for the HoneyBadgers and 75% ult to Sven.
Yeah, that was pretty brutal. I'm not really sure exactly what happened there, why neither of the tanks had their shields in position to be able to protect Thick Chungus, and just a little bit more ult charge for Spin. Why not at this point? Is HoneyBadgers looking very dominant here so far, forcing these compositional changes. We're going to get the kind of a classic dive comp coming through here from Celestial, the Sombra, and the Genji for Wyvern.
That's definitely what you want when you're facing against a double shield. Double shield does not want to face people in close quarters, but the dive is going to force that to come out as long as it's executed successfully, and Wyvern's going to go very, very low here. Then, of course, has his Riptire to try and shut down any incoming pushes, and a lot of old HoneyBadgers compared to pretty much a Valkyrie on Salty, but that's going to be about it as the Winston dive going to come in, but Salty and Wyvern both going to fall immediately, and Sven will get a pick as well. And another lost fight for Celestial. They've lost half their picks, and what? What was that, Ekuno?
Yeah, disgusting stuff. I mean, that's what's going to happen if you leave this Ashe completely uncontested on the high ground. They are just going to have a field day for sure. But and now, as you said, I mean, this fight not looking much better here for the side of Celestial. They're not really yet in position in terms of ult charge to be able to make something happen. But Jaeger caught out of position there.
That he was. Wyvern will fall early, and this Riptire is going to be bouncing around, just trying to find some person to find, and it'll find Lightning right at the end of that timer. Somehow Sven could read a few pages of the Canterbury Tales and still find a pick. That was patience.
Remastered. Where are you going, buddy? You're not on point B yet. You got to cap this one first before you move on. But yeah, this is not going well for Celestial. I mean, they're still not up to their ultimates yet. I mean, Salty has been on the Mercy the entire time. Lightning is nearly to that nano boost, but you know this has been a brutal attack round so far. They do find Jaeger out once again here. Can they capitalize this time?
That's the question, and if they can't, Wyvern is going to go down again, and if they can't take advantage of this, it's just going to be over. There's not much time left, as Ekuno has this Bob to stall out the point, but that's the only ult they have compared to almost 5 from Celestial. If they can't win this fight, it's just gonna be over for them. It'll be a complete wrap as the first ult will come out. The EMP, the Nano Blade, it's all coming out, and they will get the picks they need, but that was every ult in their bank. Only Panzerwagen has the Diva Bomb left.
Yeah, I mean, you on some level kind of have to do that. At that point, you seriously cannot afford to leave even a possibility that you get full held when you've got all those ults in the bank. So I don't disagree with the decision to do that, but it is going to leave them pretty behind on tempo when it comes towards this second point. It's going to take a while to once again build back up towards those ultimates, and still HoneyBadgers going to be in a pretty dominant position here on Hanamura.
And they will. A little bit of capture comes in, but it won't be for long for Celestial. They do have these 2 ultimates. Techno trying to spy check a little bit, just making sure that he's not, that they won't get approached by Thickchungus on that Sombra. And DMAC going to come in. Jaeger going to get taken down. Actually going to fall off the side.
Jaeger, even on the D.Va, over chasing a little bit there to try and hunt down some kills, and will fall. So another advantage here for HoneyBadgers, or for Celestial.
Ebroth going to take down Wyvern, but will fall himself as Thickchungus will get that kill. Sven does have this Riptire ready to roll, as they say, and that was an interesting Riptire choice. Going to get taken down, and that ult is gone for the members of HoneyBadgers. And now Celestial, they have an opportunity, but they're going to have to wait a little bit.
Yeah, certainly the spawn's just too kind of overwhelming there for HoneyBadgers, despite a fight that was pretty even at that point. Some mistakes coming out from HoneyBadgers on the defensive side of things don't wind up really getting punished. But here, coming into this next fight, is the real opportunity for Celestial. The EMP, the Nano Blade is 2% away from being available. So this is their chance. This is their opportunity to close out this map.
That it is, as we see what's happening here. And I have I've frozen and I can't really see what's happening, but still having some video issues.
Yeah, certainly we are having some tech issues on our side of things at the moment, but hopefully we will be able to get back underway momentarily.
Absolutely, and I mean, just kind of going forward, just in general, talking about this this game so far, it's been a pretty good showing for the HoneyBadgers. And Celestial, they've had their moments, but by and large, I think it's been the HoneyBadgers. Like we see, Wyvern has actually gotten at least 2 kills with that. Thickchungus will fall, and HoneyBadgers just barely will hold at 93.9%.
Yeah, so I mean, all those ults that Celestial was able to build up wind up being worth nearly the entire point there. So at the very least, like they set themselves a win condition here. If you had not been able to get much progress at all on point B, it would be looking pretty grim for them at this point. And of course, HoneyBadgers still have a golden opportunity to close out this series, get the 3-1 victory, and continue moving forward if they can essentially just complete the map. I mean, it's even a little bit shy of that, but for all intents and purposes, they need to finish off Hanamura here. And given the way that they have been playing so far here today, I'm sure that they feel confident in their ability to do exactly that, as we do see this defensive comp coming out from Celestial. This is something we saw a little bit earlier on in the day on Busan. They didn't have tremendous success with it at the time, going with this double bubble, the Winston and the Zarya in play with Thickchungus back on the Pharah. And I think potentially it might struggle once again here, especially as we see Takuno on that Symmetra. The potential for a TP directly to point, posting up there with the rush comp with the Mei is going to be something that Celestial, I think, will struggle to deal with here on the defensive side of things. So they got to get aggressive. They got to try and stop this in its tracks before it even comes in. But there's the TP.
There it is. There's the TP, and there's the wall. The Immortality Field will come out, but there's a huge anti-nade from that Ana, and that's the danger of that Symmetra teleport, is that you're really, really susceptible to abilities like that anti-nade and Pharah in general. And there you go, team kill for Celestial.
Yeah, so that's exactly what you need to do to try and shut down a push like that. Now we are going to see some changes potentially coming in here for HoneyBadgers. It's just going to be Jaeger going over the Diva, potentially looking for an opportunity to eat that Bionade and prevent the disaster from befalling them once again. But they do want to continue to stick with the TP, this time going towards the high ground, trying to get aggressive on the Sponsorwagen.
They're going to try, but again, there's more than just that anti-nade that they have to deal with. They have to deal with the entirety of Pharah. The anti-nade is actually going to get Sven as well, and Chungus has the barrage ready and waiting. They're going to use it, and it's going to get a double kill on this Pharah. And I'm honestly just predisposed to really enjoy Pharah play after what happened last night, which was an incredible game. And just Pharah play so far in GG. In the GG tournament has been pretty amazing.
Yeah, fantastic stuff. And now HoneyBadgers a little bit scrambling at this point there. They're making compositional swaps all over the place. Ebroth even giving up the Ant Matrix to change over to the Zen in this situation. They're going for something a bit more mobile here. Balthazar on this Winston, or on the Wrecking Ball, trying to make something happen.
He is, and they're on the ball. They're on the ball Zarya, which I've been, which most people are calling Super Monkey Ball. But out of the Resurrection will come in onto Wyvern, and Celestial is holding pretty well. Ebroth will get a pick, but will fall shortly after. And this could be an opportunity for HoneyBadgers to push in, and they're getting the picks they need, as the Ana and the Mercy are pretty much the only ones left. Oh, but Tekuno's gonna get slept. He's just going to get demolished. Jaeger will find lightning, and Salty will also go down though. So it's just a matter of when for Chungus to fall, and he will. So HoneyBadgers will capture, and they'll have about 4 minutes to take point B. Basically, they have to take the entirety of point B. They have to get to 93 points. They have to get into 94%, but it's basically the entirety of point B.
And honestly, HoneyBadgers, the swaps there work wonders for them. They realize, hey, when we are playing this grouped up, clumped up style of the rush comp, using the TP to try to get in, we're just getting blown to bits by the Pharah, getting destroyed by the Bionades whenever they come through from lightning. So let's just spread out. Let's cover a lot of area on the map. Let's make it very difficult for us to get hit by that AoE damage. And it works wonders. Now they're going to try a bit of the same here on point B, the barrage.
They will, but the barrage will find Avens, and it'll take down a lot of the members of HoneyBadger to low levels. Panzerwagen going to get a double kill and shut down the HoneyBadgers push.
Yeah, certainly, but you know that's two ultimates out of Celestial, the Valk and the Barrage. There now, Salty and Thick Chungus both going to swap, which I think is a good choice coming into the final point here. They're going for the Cement or the Sombra and the Brig here. That's going to be great for potentially being able to lock down Balthazar, but this fight going to be very dangerous for Celestial. A lot of ults coming online here for HoneyBadgers.
Absolutely, as at this point, he is going to be captured, but Abens will fall early, so will Sven, as Remastered is just absolutely frying them with this Tesla cannon, going to survive with 2 HP! Remastered, just going to be at margin, and that was
that's some style right there
from Tekuno. Wyvern just demolishing Tekuno.
I love that. But HoneyBadgers, they don't really blow anything in that fight. So, like, they've still got all those tools available coming into this next one. And, you know, now they don't have to worry about that grab. Yes, there are still some options here for Celestial. The Nano available as well as the Bob and that Primal Raid. So this is going to be very explosive.
That it is, and here comes the grab, here comes the rally. 2 ults already used and 2 picks. Wyvern going to use the Bob, but does it... I don't know if it deployed. It did deploy, but it will fall quickly after Remastered. Going to get the Nano. Not going to have... Gonna have less damage, but not immortal. Salty switching on to Lucio to try and stall this out so another full push can happen, but there's not much time for Celestial. The Chungus, though, does have the EMP, not going to be able to use it, and the point will go to HoneyBadgers, and they will taste sweet victory.
Indeed they will, and you know, I think it was Bonzerwagen that swapped over the Roadhog there at the end, but it might not have even been the best choice, as it just gave the Echo a great target to duplicate there in that final fight. I mean, it was pretty much over by that point. The execution on that ult dump was pretty nice there from HoneyBadgers. They get in cleanly, they secure some advantage. Nicely. Great adaptation from them there on Hanamura. I mean, all series long, it had been, you know, rush from Celestial. That was their bread and butter. That's what was working for them and had gotten them the lead up to that point. But, you know, when it wasn't working there on Hanamura, they change, you know, direction entirely. They go over towards that Wrecking Ball comp, and they execute it really, really nicely. So some great, you know, adaptation from this team, and a lot of flexibility being shown here in their victory today for HoneyBadgers.
That it was. So now we have the MVP voting, and there's a lot of good choices here on the HoneyBadgers. A lot of great play. So I'll let you go first, Shy Guy. Who do you think was the most valuable player on HoneyBadgers today?
This is a very difficult choice, because to me this was a real team effort across the board. I mean, I think we were getting great play out of both of those supports. Abens, Ebroth especially on the BAP, I thought was really, really good throughout. But I think my MVP today probably has to be Sven. Playing a lot of those DPS picks, so good on the Mei, so good on the Echo when they were required to go to that, and I think they were kind of the linchpin here today for HoneyBadgers, as they were able to keep themselves alive in the lower bracket.
Definitely, as Sven just kind of was pretty nuts. I'm gonna go with Balthazar. Personally, just a really, really impressive job on the tank. Able to play that main tank so well and flex onto a few different roles. The Ryan, and just playing really well.
Indeed, it does look like your choice will be emerging victorious here. Balthazar coming away with the viewer's choice MVP award, and very well earned. Kind of, you know, the main tank, always one of those positions that is going to be, you know, setting the pace, you know, determining a lot of how these fights going to break down, and Balthazar was really doing a great job of controlling this series from start to finish.
Absolutely. And we are done with this game. HoneyBadgers taking it over Celestial. They will continue on, and an unfortunate goodbye to Celestial, but we will be seeing a little more of them as we get into the next season of GitGud, this tournament.
Yeah. That's it for the intermediate division, but of course we're not done yet. We've still got one more match here today, at least, as we continue on forward. We're headed towards the rookie division next, which, you know, to me is always exciting, because I literally have zero clue what to expect. You can't necessarily tell me like what the meta is going to be, what kind of compositions or hero picks we're going to see from these teams. It's always a bit of a grab bag, and that makes for some very entertaining Overwatch. So we've got 5 head going up against Pal Punto coming up next, and that should be another fantastic series.